Dr. Thompson talk about title pages? Is that required for this assignment?
And
Not for this assignment.
Not for this.
No, no, I just want the title at the top of the page and then the breakdown in the prospectus, like I mentioned. For your project, you will need to have a title page, and that's actually in your handbook. It gives you a template in there that you can use for that, as well as what is known as a signature page and all the other, and there's one for your sections. I've given information on that. I may have that in here, but it may also be in the class I'm teaching tomorrow. But again, that's not something you need to worry so much about now, as you need to think about it really when you move into your project. And so we'll definitely go over all of that in the methodology class.
you said something about not part of your word count. Are footnotes part of our word count? They are.
Oh, really?
Yay.
So I'm telling you, your project's getting shorter and shorter. So this is why narrow and deep.
Yeah, because in our assignments, they have not been part of it.
Yeah, well, you'll find some professors will include it in there, but for your project, it definitely is. Yeah.
So Microsoft Word,
Mhm.
it doesn't include the footnotes and the word count.
You
Yes, it will if you check the
will?
box.
Okay.
You go up into tools, and I don't want to get out of this because I'll probably lose my PowerPoint again. But if you go into the toolbox and what is it? Is it review?
Yes, and there's a box that you can click
I
to
can tell it to add.
include it
Yeah,
or to not
yeah.
include it.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions, guys? A couple of things to think about before anything as you do this, but think about it. You obviously want to proofread it and spell check. Something else to be thinking about, and I'll reiterate this in the methodology class. This is the way I do things, and I highly recommend it for people because you want to write and wait to go back to review what you've written after you've written the entire chapter. I would encourage you that with anything that you're doing, write the entire thing out. Then go back and edit it, because two things. Number one, you're wasting time by going back and editing it as you're trying to move forward. Number two, you may find things later that you want to move somewhere else, so then you're doing a double editing in the midst of all of it. So again, it's part of that free writing, but in a little different context, but it allows you time to go back at the very end and do it then. What I like to do is get papers done at least a week before they're due, and then just set them down and not look at it for a couple of days. And you kind of come back with really fresh eyes, and you'll see things that you've missed, you would have missed if you looked at it right away. And then I'll do several other proofreading and stuff. Again, later you spell check in your toolbar and stuff. You're going to miss things. It's going to happen. And so I'll pick them up and I'll be sure to let you know about it. But don't worry about it. Seriously, just do these steps that you need to do, but don't, and especially when you're talking about your drafts, because you're going to, as we said, so many revising. So don't spend forever trying to make sure that everything is absolutely perfect in it because you're making stuff taken out. It's like, why did I spend all that time doing it? So again, give something presentable to your project advisor, but don't panic over what it is. We talked about Grammarly, and I've now talked about my method. Now, just to give you a heads up, again, we'll talk about this again when we get to that point in life. You do not have to use an editor during your project writing phase, unless you don't write well. And then it's up to your project advisor. I have had students that I said, I honestly could not figure out what this person was saying. And so I made them go and get an editor to even be able to understand it. Hopefully nobody else is at that point in time. But if it is difficult, we have somebody that just passed that I'm still going back over and doing some more editing in the midst of all of it because it still is not a clear project. And so, but for the most part, what is going to happen is after you go through your oral defense and you get more revisions that you get to do to your project, then after you do those revisions, then you will hire an editor. We will ask most of you to get an editor. Others of you may be suggested to get an editor. We'll give you some people that we've used in the past to do it for you. I know it's not inexpensive. I don't know what the costs are, but again, it's something that you really want to do because no matter how good you look, how well you look at things, you're going to miss things. And even when you have an editor, and multiple eyes looking at it. Like I said, when you get your brown project back, you're gonna look at it and go, oh, man. So, but again, it's just these helpful things, but we want to have it be as excellent as we can for you. But again, that's at the very end of all of it. And when you're writing papers, we have one gal that's from Canada and she has somebody edit her papers because she doesn't think she writes well enough. And I finally told her, I said, you need to give me a paper that you've written without an editor and let me give you some feedback on it. She wrote much better than she thought she did, but she still wanted the editor. And so, you know, that's okay, but it's not a requirement, especially when we're talking about every paper that you're doing. So I now want to move on to the final step in this process, which is your second proposed draft. Do you guys want to stand up for 5-10 minutes? Everybody, I think so.
You can keep going, I'll just stand up.
Stand up, okay, feel free to stand up. Your rubric, it's a quasi rubric, and please don't look at it as A, B, C, D, E. Because there's so much to cover that I'm looking at in the prospectus, it's really a vast rubric. And so if I'm able, I'm gonna hopefully do some revisions to it. But the bottom line, what you need to be looking at, I use it to give myself an idea about what category I should put you in when I finish reading your prospectus so that it isn't all subjective on my part about making a decision on it. It's highly unlikely no one to this point has done it, and that's okay because it's a learning process that you get it fully approved without having to make any revisions to your prospectus. Most people are going to fall into the minor revisions factor. And again, not trying to make you guys do extra work. But again, I want to be sure that you know the path you're going. And if I don't feel like there's a clarity that needs to be in there, I'm going to ask you to make revisions to it because in the end, you're going to thank me for it verbally or just consciously. That this really helped me to make sure that I stayed on the track. And that's really what I want to do in all of it. So there are others where there's moderate revisions, major revisions, and then there's a point of where it's decline what you have done, and you're going to need to revise it. And you got an idea, but you've really got a whole lot of stuff to do it. And then an out and out decline where it's like, you need to start all over from the very beginning. So at this point, there shouldn't be anybody moving into either of those two latter categories because you'll have met with me, you've had my input on your outline as well as your prospectus drafts, and there's no reason why that should happen in the midst of all of it, even if you disagree with everything. And I'm not saying this facetiously. Even if you disagree with everything that I've given you for feedback, there still shouldn't be any reason for that if you get to that point in time. Questions on that, guys?
So kind of looking at the outline, because I know you said you redone it, you're gonna send it out to us. So the end of December is when it should be approved, but if it's not, it'll fall in one of those categories as we go into like next year.
No.
That's for the prospectus.
Yeah, I have to have it done. Grades are due on the 19th of December. So you're going to have feedback from me before then. So you will know before the end of the year if you have to make any revisions and if it's approved. If it needs to be approved, you're going to want to work on it and get it to me. It can be in January because I want everybody to take a break. Yeah. But again, get working on it because this is where people in the past that are in their methodology class and still haven't gotten it approved because they kept putting off making the revisions that they need. One gal doesn't even really know what she's doing it on yet, which is really scary.
Yeah. But if we follow the pace that is set for us, we'll be approved by like the end of December. Okay.
And I really anticipate, like I said, nearly everybody's going to fall into the minor revision things, and it's just not going to be anything major that you're going to need to do for it. So a couple of things that you want to be thinking about to finish well is again, support network and a prayer team. If you do not have people praying for you, get people praying for you. Because you really need that along the way, and people that will support you. Again, working with your family, I'm trusting everybody has discussed this with their spouses or families, and letting them know what's happening in your life and that you're not going to be quite as available as you used to be for the next few years of your life. But again, also again, as I mentioned earlier, talk to your employer about it. And if you feel like there's something that you want to have a little bit of variant in or a little bit of leeway in or whatever you're feeling in this, talk to them about it. All they can do is say no, but most employers are going to be amiable to the fact that you're trying to improve yourself, even if they're a secular organization. Self-care is so important. Whether you're an exerciser or a non-exerciser or whatever you do, it's taking care of yourself, doing the things that you need to do for yourself. And again, of course, devotions are so important. You're going to call me a heretic in this, but there will be times when you don't go to church. And you know what? Jesus will forgive you. I know. I told you to call me a heretic. You know what? Jesus understands. And here again, if you're a pastor, you're like, well, I have to be there every Sunday. No, you don't. Get somebody else to take your role once in a while and give yourself a little break. Even if you're not taking the break to write, you're just taking a Sabbath so you can really get some rest and be refreshed to start writing the next day. So again, you and Jesus, it's a conversation between the two of you as to what you want to do. But do not feel guilty. I know this is a church tradition that we have to be in church every Sunday. We used to have to be in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday. And if you weren't a good Christian. Thank God for grace, because again, it's okay. I missed a lot of church services during my PhD program, and I still consider myself saved. So again, you and Jesus have, but again, even if you're not going to find that you need to take a little break, still have a devotional time with the Lord. And I don't know, I know I'm preaching to the choir in that, but again, making sure you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as you're moving through all of this. If anybody has any learning challenges, I have dyslexia, and so there's certain things that I have. It's more of changing of letters in the wrong direction, spelling certain words, or just like a nightmare, like license or convalescent. S's and C's is like, I don't know where it goes here. And B's and D's, sometimes I'll go to write one and it's like, wait a minute, which way does this thing go? Just directions, forget it. I kid with people. I said I had to get married so I could tell my left from my right. I mean, I really cannot tell. I know you probably noticed that earlier when I was talking about the margin, and I had to hesitate for a minute. Wait a minute, which side is that? And so people have ADHD. People have other learning disabilities, learning challenges. I know disability is a negative word, but I just said it. None of us are born perfect, and we have problems. We have a really great system here at TKU with our Student Success Center, and we have a gal down there that's actually licensed in diagnosing problems and giving you guidance and direction to help. She herself suffers with ADHD, and so she really gets it for people who have that problem. But again, if you're having problems, you're finding that, this isn't coming as quickly as I want to, or I'm having problems writing, there may be some factors into it. So talk to them about it. If you want to talk to me and let me know that you're planning to do it, you don't have to give me details on it. And sometimes I'll notice it in writing and I'll encourage you to go ahead and contact. Her name is Kathy, but I would be glad to introduce you. But again, it's a great opportunity that we have here. There's no charge for doing it. And it's just something that can really help you so that you move from being frustrated and everything because you can't read fast enough or you can't absorb fast enough or whatever it may be. And there's actually a reason behind all of it. So be sure, and again, if you want to contact them directly, that's fine. If you want to go through me, I'll introduce you, perfectly fine. For writing assistance, unfortunately, we do not have anybody here that really helps with the doctoral program when you move into your project. If you're needing help with some of your assignments, they may be able to guide you a little bit in that, but recognize that they're working more with undergraduate and graduate students. So doctoral writing is just a little bit different, but they can still give you some help in that. And then the last thing I want to look at is the proposed timeline. This is not a mandated timeline. This is to give you an idea about when you can graduate if you follow these steps. So you'll finish your last semester of coursework, as you all know, is spring of 2025, which is going to get here faster than you realize. So in the summer of 2025, you begin your writing phase. If you want to graduate in May of 2026, you probably will not make it.
That's early.
Because it's only 7 months to write your project. And to be honest with you, and I know John can attest to this, even though we wrote dissertations and not projects, it's gonna take you more than 7 months to be able to do it. So while you can attempt to do that, and it's fine, if you don't make it, do not panic. You have not failed the Lord or anyone else. Cameron?
It's supposed to say spring 26
Yes.
for the last semester required.
Yes.
Like everything 1 year more.
Are you guys going finishing in 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we start our core class in spring 2025.
See, this is where
When
my
we finish our core
this
class,
is
we start our
where, this is
actual.
literally where my dyslexia gets me in trouble.
No, because you guys have a lot of cohorts.
Well,
There's a lot to keep up with.
It's not just that, it's just that the system, it goes from the fall to the summer is considered a year. And so figuring all this out, all of it makes into, so I will revise this for you. So we're gonna be looking at a year later and I'll put this in there, but it still gives you an idea. So
Spring 2026.
it's still a 7 month period. So if you want to graduate, sorry, just kind of ignore the dates here for a minute. If you want to graduate in the May after you finish, the May of the following year after you move into your writing phase, then you need to have it done by December 31st of the prior year. And your oral defense will need to take place by March of the year in which you will be graduating. But again, that is really short. What I'm recommending most people are going to do, and again, I'll change these dates, is that you graduate. You could graduate in December of that year without an additional tuition fee because you're paying for the semesters that, I'm only discouraging you guys from doing that because I'm going to put the right dates in there.
So,
The project approval you're talking about, is it still December 2025 or 2026?
I don't know, I've got to go in there and revamp this. I'm just giving you an idea about what to think about here. Don't worry about the year because the principles of the dates are still going to remain the same. So to graduate in, so you guys said, I guess this will be 2027, December 27, without an additional tuition fee because when you move into your writing phase, you have 4 semesters to get it done in, and that's included in your regular tuition. If you finish sooner, you don't get a refund. But that is included as part of your tuition fee. If you go beyond that, then you start paying an additional tuition fee of 1 unit, whatever the cost is for 1 unit. And it may change, so you'll need to check with the catalog or with the financial services. But to do that, but what I'm saying is if you can't meet that May date, you may need to wait until the end of that year, which means that you have until the end of the spring semester to get your project approved, have your oral defense by December 31st, and then you would graduate at that point in time, but you won't get your diploma or your transcripts. You'll be considered a doctor. You'll have considered finish the program, but you won't get your diploma or your transcripts because we don't have a December commencement until January of 2028, the following year. And then we would encourage you to come back in May of 2028 and walk. You've worked hard. You want to walk and enjoy that. Enjoy what's happened and celebrate what you've done, even though it'll be a little later. Now, you can also plan to graduate in December of 2027 with an additional tuition fee. You have to be done, have your oral defense done by the end of the summer of 2027 in order to not pay additionally. But you can still finish in December 26, but have a little more time if you need to. And then you need to finish your project approved by the end of the summer, not the spring, and have your oral defense done by November 31st, which again will allow you to be finished and be a doctor, but you won't get your diploma and your transcripts until January of 2028, and then you participate in commencement in May of 2028. You have the program is designed for you to be done within 6 years. To do that, if God forbid, because it does happen, to do that and be done by summer of, it's gonna be 2029, you need to have your project approved by the end of spring of 2029 and your oral defense by July 31st of 2029. Granted, there is some time in between there, so you have those other opportunities, but I'm going to the other end. And the final thing is the 7th year. You can go into a 7th year, but you have to apply, you have to petition to go into that 7th year and give a reason for it. And it's unlikely not to be approved because there's usually a valid reason as to why you're going into your 7th year. And even if it isn't, we usually give a lot of leeway in it. So you have two options in that. The first option is that you can finish in summer of 2030, which means that you need to have your project approved by December 31st of 2029 and your oral defense by March of 2029, March of 2030, and then commencement in May of 2030. In the 7th year with a petition, but you want to use that summer also to finish it. So you don't want to finish. You want to be able to, you're going to finish toward the end of the year instead of being ready for that May graduation. So then you need to have your project approved by the end of spring of 2029, your oral defense by July 31st, and then again, you finished, but you won't get your diploma or your transcript until the following year, which would be 2031, and then commencement in May of 2031. And I know that's a lot of information, but I just want to give you some idea about this. Like I said, I will go in there and change these dates appropriately. Thank you, George, for giving me alert on that. But again, I want to give you an idea. We'll keep you posted on it. Again, most people are able to finish within the 4-year period, but again, things happen. I was hoping to be done. I finished my coursework in 2.5 years. And was thinking, okay, I can be on the trajectory to finish in 4 years. And then, as you know, things happened. And it took me the full 7 years. And things just happen. So don't beat yourself up if you go, you're going to pay a little more, yes. But don't beat yourself up. Toy.
Okay, so because coursework is 3 years, I want to make sure I'm on the right track. We're in our 2nd year, so we got 1 more year of all the coursework.
It's
right?
actually 2 years and 2 semesters. It's not full
Okay.
3 years.
Okay. And then, so once we finish, the end, right, so our coursework will finish 2026 in that spring, right, for us.
That's for that.
We have 2 years to write, is what you're saying, and then anything after that will be
You
additional.
have 4 semesters.
4 semesters,
And summer counts as a semester, right? Yeah.
even though it's shorter, sorry, I'm just playing. So 4 semesters, so when we finish that spring of 2026, we have summer, fall, spring, and 1 more summer? Or just summer, fall, and spring, because I thought it was just 3 semesters to
No,
write.
you're paying for 4 semesters.
We got 4, so we finish in the summer, then we will graduate, like you said, the next.
Spring.
Okay, I thought it was a rush, okay, that's.
So it isn't. Some people just want to be able to graduate that next year, and
Yeah,
it's
not-
really a tight turnaround.
Yeah.
It really, but again, if you've been thinking about this, you met with me in the beginning, you got an idea where you're going, you get your prospectus approved early, you get your participant research done after this next semester, there is a possibility, because again, you know where you're going. And so when you take the Bib and Theo class and you take the lit review class, you can actually have something that can become the basis for your actual chapters. And so you'll have a whole lot done. And so then that 7 months actually becomes something that's possible.
Yeah, and anything after those 4 semesters of writing is additional, okay.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
For the rapture.
My brain's still on fire.
I know.
So I'm so sorry, but
No, you're fine. There's just a lot of information and I know it.
so we end in the spring, we don't meet in the summer. Is it that we can have something, we don't have anything by that December, right? That's crazy. Right?
Well, that's it. That's what I'm saying. You have 7 months because you have June through December to get it done.
Mhm.
And if you've been building on your project through the course because you've been right on top of timelines, if possible, so that your participant research is done and you've been building stuff already in the biblical and theological and lit review chapters, then there's a possibility that you could actually be done by that December and have your oral defense in March and graduate in May. Don't kill yourself trying to do it. But if you're able to do it, and again, that's why we're trying desperately to help people get more and more things done earlier so that you're ready and able to do that should you want to, because we don't want to see anybody having to take longer than they have to take. but we know things happen in life as well as
And you
sometimes
don't
things
graduate.
take longer.
You don't graduate with your cohort, because you end up graduating.
It's highly
Yeah.
unlikely that everybody's gonna finish at the same time anyway.
So what's the earliest realistic time frame?
Tim, when do you, we're a year behind?
May 27th.
Or May 27th?
Yeah,
May 27th, yeah.
Okay, that'll be the earliest?
Mhm.
Realistic.
But you're saying that that's
There's
not
no
the
way you're
norm.
gonna graduate before then. I don't care what you think or say. It's not gonna happen.
I don't care
I
what.
protest.
Unless you're a super student.
I don't
No, even if you're a super student, there's no way you can do that because you've got these classes that you've got to take. And then you don't even start into the writing phase and you can't double up on classes because we only offered them once. So you don't have any choice in the matter. And you can't transfer something in to take a place of a class.
Because based on the timeline, the project would have to be done by December of 25 to graduate in 26, which it would,
Yeah.
because we're, yeah, and we wouldn't have the methodologies yet. Yeah. Gotcha.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry, the last
More year.
Yeah, because we looking at the
methodologies
schedule.
last.
Another year break.
Yeah, we wouldn't. have
That's
to-
because this is
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm looking at the syllabus here because I'm
Okay.
thinking if someone was trying to graduate in 26,
Mhm.
we wouldn't have the,
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have taken all the classes. Yeah,
The classes first.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Unless their parents
Yeah,
are
they- it's funny how they got that set up.
scholar and they've been getting advised the whole time.
I mean,
Started
we want
writing
to
as
get
a-
you guys through as soon as possible, but we also recognize that 4 units in a doctoral program is the same as taking full-time 6 units in a graduate program. And so just enjoy the ride.
The full 4 semesters would be spring 28 or May 28.
Yeah, whatever you say, I'm totally lost.
The 4 full semesters extra that we write will put us at spring of 28, like that.
I don't know, I really don't know. I'm totally lost on dates. So let me revise this. I'm not putting you off, Malachi. I really can't.
I know
My
there's a
brain
lot of
isn't
dates. Yeah,
working.
I know.
I will revise this so you really have a clear idea of where this all
Sounds
stands.
good.
Cameron, did you have a question? Go ahead, Jeremy, please talk.
Okay, so I know myself and I know a few other individuals. We worked really hard to get all our bridge work courses done,
Mhm.
but still have one more left to
yeah.
complete. In your opinion, when would be between now and everything else? When, in your opinion, would be the best strategic time to complete that one additional bridge
What
work
course
course?
do you need to take?
The New Testament as Jewish literature.
Oh, that's a tough course. Yeah. I hate to tell you that. The MGS courses, you guys have not moved into your concentration yet.
Next semester.
Welcome aboard the MGS program, because if you thought things were tough, you have no idea what you're gonna walk into. Dr. Rudolph and his team, Dr. Moore's class is gonna look like a piece of cake in comparison. It's tough, and he's really,
It's cake.
I keep saying we need to find a balance, because we've got Rudolph and MGS over here, and we've got everybody else over here, and there needs to be some kind of a middle ground where we're expectancy from people, but not pushing them to the degree, because that gets a little bit extreme in the MGS program. So I would, what class do you take in the, where are we? Spring. What, are you guys moving, do you have your concentration? You don't have your concentration next semester, or do you? You do?
Yeah, we do.
We start next semester.
Okay, do you know what class you're taking
No,
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
For the writing part,
for the MGS program?
I can tell them, they're taking, Messianic Jewish preaching and teaching.
It might be a good, the spring I would advise more than summer because you've got a full 15 weeks as opposed to 10 weeks.
Okay.
So I would think about doing it then
Okay.
instead. And I think that's an online 1 or an online 2. I don't think it's a full 15-week program either, which would help too.
Okay.
Whether it's online 1 or online 2. it would give you a little bit of a shake.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a good class, but it's
Oh, yeah.
intense from what I hear. So,
I'll talk about next semester.
Oh, next semester.
I'm not going into next
Sorry,
semester.
it's March, yeah.
Yeah, how does that work? That's something that hasn't been talked about though, like
For the spirit formation.
Yeah.
well, even with some of the other concentrations with going on that retreat. Cause like
Well-
executive leadership, I think it's.
Yeah, they don't go on the retreat. The only ones that go on the the only retreats are for spiritual formation and direction.
For executive leadership, did they change it? They changed it, okay, okay, so it's just.
And you guys, what Dr. Call is actually teaching the methodology class while they're over there. And I don't know what I don't know what is happening for the 3-unit class for that. But
Okay.
everybody else that's still on ground and it's still here, that is in the SFD program, would stay on ground to get it. We may, because this time, the only people that were going, the entire cohort was in the spiritual formation group. So that's why Dr. Call is teaching it over there. What we may do instead is, the challenge is the time difference between Europe and here, is do something, either do it as a live presentation where you guys join from Italy. Are you guys going to Italy? I know somebody's going to
Or that's
Spain.
what's projected.
You join that or you listen to a recording. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we keep moving forward, since we'll have some that are going to be here on ground as well as some as opposed to what's happening this year. So this is our first year with the spiritual formation direction group going on finishing the program. So we're learning new things as we go along and figuring out how to balance it all out.
Dr. Thomas, do you, and I'll address this to the class, does anybody outside of Google Calendar have an academic calendar where we can put things on the internet and kind of have a visual of the classes and assignments? Can you recommend a calendar that would do that? And I'll just open that. I use the Google Calendar, but I think I need a little more to write in some of these classes and
I just use
times.
a Google Calendar and
You
I
do
just
that.
write in my classes when I'm teaching or when I have assignment. I actually have 3 calendars. I have the one that's normally in my Outlook, drives me crazy, but that's the way it is. Got
But it
one for
works
general
for you.
stuff. I've got one for my teaching calendar and I've got one for my DMin program. And so I put things with DMin in one, teaching in another, and general stuff in another. And what I do in my teaching would be what you could do with your coursework is, got this assignment is due here, I'm starting this class here, I'm ending this class here. That's all I would have to suggest, because I don't know anything else, but I'm
I'll put them all together.
not
That's
in the
what I do.
latest of everything. Again, it's working what works for you. Yeah,
I think I'd like to have the 3 separate ones.
you can do that. You know, you can go get those free maps, free calendars, and I don't know, type in free calendars to download. I can't remember the name of it. And they're really easy to fill in.
And that's what I need. I don't know if anybody else needs to do this, but I need a visual and I need to be able to fill it in.
No, and this will allow you to do both of them.
Okay.
Any other questions or thoughts or anything about the book that you couldn't wait to discuss? Anybody tired? Can't imagine why. No, you guys done? You don't have a class tomorrow.
No, we have a retreat though.
Oh, that's right. You're heading off for the retreat, so.
After I get there in my tires.
But you'll send the new schedule, so
I
I'll look forward
will,
to
I
that.
will. I'm not gonna get it out today.
No, next week or
What?
something. Yeah.
Well, why is somebody having class tomorrow?
I know, you know what, I've only got an event
That's a
tonight, so
Saturday.
what's
Is it-
wrong with me?
I mean,
Yeah.
a Friday, but, well,
Um,
she does. She's teaching
Yeah.
class tomorrow.
Oh.
Whoever that is, I don't want to be in it thing.
You might
Is that
want to,
covered?
maybe
Five
real
days.
laid back.
No, I know.
Yeah, they go last semester.
We get a retreat.
Here's your work.
Research day.
That's what they
And
like.
then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, they have school, and then Thursday is a research day.
Oh,
So
no,
they're all in the
really?
library.
He did, oh my God.
I don't, thank you. Goodness.
Related to the prospectus, you mentioned a handbook.
Yeah, the
Where is that
Demon
located?
handbook, I've updated it. You should have got, you got one when you first started here. You got a hard copy, but I have updated it and I'm gonna I'll get that out. I'll get that uploaded to Bright Space. I'm gonna say by the first of the week. I'm not sure. I will try to get to it beforehand, but I can guarantee it'll be in there by the first of the week, as well as everything else that I mentioned for a resource for you. And a lot of that is really is gonna help you more with the project, really, than helping you with the prospectus. But I will also, and again, I should be able to get the recording up, although I gotta change these dates. So I will do my best to get the recording and the PowerPoint up by Saturday for you guys, but well, not all of you are gonna be gone. But I'll definitely have it up by the first of the week, but I'll really do my best to try to get at least that up to you. But I'll see how much I can get done. I think I'm gonna sleep in a little bit on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm sure people would appreciate it when I'm giving them feedback. What did you mean by this?
By what? I didn't even say that.
Yeah, that was Martha's fault. Oh, guys, okay, well, let me pray over all of you. Lord, I just lift these students before you. I lift John before you, Lord. I lift Rebecca before you. And Lord, I just pray for your blessing upon each and every one of them. Lord, there's been a lot of information, not just today, but this entire week, and I know their brains feel like it's about to explode. But Lord, I thank you that there is stuff in their brains that has actually taken seed, and that some of it may be a little further back than others, but Lord, it's all in there. And I just thank you for helping them to bring forth what they need at the time they need it. As they begin to work toward their prospectus outline, I ask you, God, to give them guidance and wisdom as they continue to work on that. For those that haven't met with me, Lord, help them to be able to get a hold of me and get an appointment made so that we can talk about it, so they're not spinning their wheels with the outline. But Lord, again, just your blessing. I pray for protection, Lord, upon each and every one of these students as they travel to the retreat or traveling to their home. That, Lord, your hand, your blessing would be upon them. For those going to the retreat, I pray for an impartation of your spirit in a way in which they hadn't anticipated. And Lord, again, just your hand and your blessing upon each and every life. And I thank you for that in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, I thought about one more thing that I just need, the assignments. I am willing, especially if you haven't met with me and you don't have a clear direction on your prospectus, I can give you a little bit of an extension on the outline. However, for prospectus drafts, I can't give an extension because of the time factor that I need to get to review and get them back to you. So if for any reason you find that you're not going to be able to do it, you could always file for an incomplete in the class, which means that you'll have another 6 weeks to get work done, which means you're moving into your next semester. But that would be your only option should anything happen where you're not able to finish those assignments. So if you're having a problem with it, again, the first one, I can give an extension if needed. Just let me know. But the other ones, again, I need them on the date that I'm asking for them. And if you can't do it, just contact me and let's talk about some options in the midst of all of it, okay?
Dr. Thompson, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture of that real quick.
Oh, sorry. Hold on a second, sorry.
They know what I'm about.
You're done.
Again, if you think it's something that you have a question on, please feel free to reach out to me. Not just during the class, but at any point in time.
Yeah, just like I said, I want to work on this right now.
I know.
There now.
Interviewing, yeah, that's research.
No, it does.
What I'm saying is one thing for me.
What is
A lot of assumptions.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye, John.
Bye. Blessing. Shalom.
Yes.
Because the biggest thing goes with how
You
comfortable
can't
are
see
you?
us waving, but we are.
You're prepared knowing that
Actually,
a bunch of